Okay, in this video I'm going over some more recent news in the UFC sphere. Francis Ngannou thinks he wants to come back to the UFC, which I think is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. It's never going to happen. Dana White is not going to allow this to happen under any circumstances. And I think just even the hint of this happening has thrown a wrench into the mix at heavyweight that is very telling for the fight between John Jones versus Tom Aspinall. So we'll get into that. We'll get into Cannonier versus Page being announced, which is weird. Not what I expected at all, but it's still kind of a cool matchup, I guess. We'll go over Brandon Royval versus Joshua Van. Joshua Van steps in on short notice to fight Royval June 28th for International Fight Week. Super sick from Joshua Van. And then we have Pereira versus Tulio that I want to go over because that's super fun. And if you know that Marcus Tulio is very fucking fun. Marco Tulio. So, we'll start with this. Ngannou's back. He wants to be back. His coach said that he wants to make a UFC return, which I think doesn't make any sense at all. They left on horrible terms. Francis Ngannou, UFC, parted ways on terrible terms. Francis Ngannou said a bunch of dirty shit about the UFC. I, for one, hated the fact that Ngannou left the UFC at such a big point in the division's history where he could have made crazy amounts of money, crazy amounts of hype. He could have fought John Jones, but he decided to leave because he didn't feel like he was getting enough money. He didn't feel like a lot of fighters were getting enough money. He pretty much left because of the principle of it. And now he wants to come back. To me, that's super backhanded. That's super fakey. I don't like it. And the whole narrative that Francis Ngannou is such a super good person, I've been skeptical of it for a while. And this is a little shady to me. PFL gave him a ton. He gave him like rights to their company and like made him a board member or some shit. And gave him a ton of fucking money, and now he just wants to split. It's either fake news or Francis Ngannou is a bullshitter. And I kind of thought so for a while now. He's also been in the news for some not so great stuff regarding his motorcycle crash. So this makes sense that maybe get some of the bullshit off his back and make a weird news announcement that he wants to come back to the UFC and fight John Jones. Which John Jones also had something to say about this, that he would rather fight Francis Ngannou than Tom Aspinall, and that it's a way bigger fight and that he'd actually come back and fight. He said this on his Twitter. That's the stupidest shit ever. You're going to take Tom Aspinall's opportunity away. He's the interim champ to fight Francis Ngannou coming back into the UFC. It's never going to happen. And him saying that, John Jones saying this, is just further proof that he wants nothing to do with Tom Aspinall at all. And he just wants to, he would fight someone. It's not like he's tired of fighting and that he's fatigued of it all, because that doesn't make any sense, because he would have fought Pereira, he would have fought Ngannou. He just doesn't want to fight Aspinall because he knows he'd get fucked. So the fight between John Jones and Tom Aspinall, to me, is never going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think John Jones has the balls to make this happen. Allegedly, they already gave John Jones the money he requested, and he still is not willing to fight Tom Aspinall. It's never going to happen. Francis Ngannou is never coming back to the UFC. Dana White said some bullshit about Francis Ngannou. He will never bring him back. Dana White hates him, and for good reason, since he left the company in such a weird spot at such a weird time and talked so much shit about it. This is the dumbest negotiation, Twitter negotiation I've ever seen in my life. And I don't want Francis Ngannou back in the UFC. I've never been a huge Francis Ngannou guy because of the way he left the UFC. And now that he wants back, allegedly, I don't love it. I don't like that at all. But yeah, that's the news with that. Next, we have Cannonier versus Michael Venom Page. This fight doesn't make any sense to me, but it's still fun. I guess Michael Venom Page is at middleweight now. He's a mainstay at middleweight. I'm sure he's going to fight at middleweight from now on. If he's giving him Cannonier, this is obviously just a contender fight. Page is going to stay at middleweight and fight up the rankings, which is honestly way more interesting than welterweight for Michael Venom Page. Michael Page versus like a Dricus or like some of these guys up there, he might smoke him. which is interesting because he has very versatile striking, which makes him very dangerous on the feet. He hasn't been extremely finishing potential. Like, he hasn't had a lot of finishing potential in the UFC so far. But he had a lot in Bellator, and he still is very dynamic on the feet and a very hard fighter to deal with. There's nobody better at striking than him on the feet, in my opinion, in the UFC. At keeping the range, at finding his shots, finding power shots, at timing. He's the best. And Cannonier is going to feel it. I don't think Cannonier is going to be able to wrestle Page. I don't think so. I think he'll be stuck with Page on the feet. Cannonier's been shinny lately. He's been shinny, but he's not like getting obliterated in any of his fights. He got obliterated in his last one, but he's been shinny. And Michael Venom Page is going to find his chin. I don't think Cannonier's going to be able to take him down. I think Cannonier's too old, too weathered. I think Page is going to piece up Cannonier on the feet and put him out. Sadly, because I do really like Cannonier, they just keep throwing him to people that are going to knock him out, which sucks. But I do think Page is going to knock him out, which will put him at number 7. Looking up the rankings, I think Page at middleweight is super fun. I really like it. Next, we have Royval versus Van. So, Brendan Royval was set to fight Manel Kape at UFC 317, International Fight Week. Joshua Van fought last weekend on UFC 316 against Bruno Silva, won his fight by knockout, and now he's making a turnaround, a 2-week turnaround to fight Brendan Royval. Amazing. This is what stars are made of. Joshua Van's my new favorite flyweight. I love him. This is amazing. To step in on short notice against the number 1 guy, you have to have some balls. And Joshua Van has always been that fighter. But I don't like it for Joshua Van. Brendan Royval is very fucking good on the feet, in the wrestling. He's good everywhere, especially on the feet. He's very slick. He utilizes his range well. Joshua Van has had problems with range in the past. Joshua Van is not a big flyweight. He's very short for the division. And being short for flyweight is like the worst thing ever because there's nowhere to go. Brendan Royval is not short for flyweight. He's pretty tall. He's pretty lengthy. He knows how to use it. And Van got chinned by a lengthier guy in, what the fuck was his name? Michael Johnson? Yeah. I think Michael Johnson. Whatever big flyweight, big black flyweight with the hair all over, on the back of his head and the rest of it shaved. Whoever that guy is. Chinned Joshua Van. I don't like this. I think Brendan Royval is very fucking good. And I think he probably will beat Joshua Van on short notice. But I really want Van to win. But Royval is definitely going to win, I think. I'm not very confident in Van in this fight. He has very good striking, and he could catch Royval, but Royval also has a really good chin. I just don't like it. It's not a good style matchup for Van on such short notice. You need time to prepare for a guy like this. I think he's going to get beat. But it's sad, but it's also awesome, and there's a chance he can get it, and taking that chance is what makes fighters so much fun to watch. So I'm I'm super happy for Van, and I'm excited to see what he does next. Michael Pereira versus Marco Tulio. So Marco Tulio is very fucking fun. He's had 2 fights in the UFC, both very exciting striking matches where he looks like a fighting nerd out there. Like, he's that confident, he's that versatile on the feet. He's very fucking fun. Michael Pereira has proven to be very fun in the past. He's got a lot of finishes very quickly. He's very crazy on the feet. Like, he'll do backflips and shit, throw a bunch of random crazy shit. But he has no gas tank at all. And if Marco Tulio survives the first round, he is going to obliterate Michael Pereira on the feet. Just show him levels as the fight goes on. And I think Tulio is going to win by knockout. There's a chance Pereira could catch him early, but if he doesn't, he is in deep shit with Marco Tulio. Tulio's so slick. He utilizes everything well. He throws crazy, like, dynamic shots. He's like a Mauricio Ruffy of middleweight. He's very fucking good. And I think Michael Pereira has shown that he doesn't want to improve. And that if he catches you early, you'll probably go out. But if he doesn't catch you early, you're going to win the fight pretty much. Like, that's what Michael Pereira is at this point. So, Tulio is definitely going to win. Pereira sucks ass now that I know. But I think that's about it. Those are the matchups. That's the news. I will see you soon.